Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you again this month. Let's jump right in. So I want to start this month by asking you a question. What is your North Star? Do you still have one? Do you know what that is? I know at some point in your life, at one point, you had a North Star. So this is a check-in point. So let's talk about what is a North Star. To me, a North Star it's the dream. It's that guiding light. It's different from when I'm successful, it'll look like this, somewhere I want to get to. It's that fire in your belly. No matter what your age is, no matter what your education is, no matter what your past is, it's the vision that you have in your head that drives you forward. It's why you show up every day. And what happens over time is that most people start to lose their North Star. Your North Star doesn't leave you, but you lose sight of it. We start to talk ourselves out of believing that we can ever have or accomplish our North Star. We start to rationalize about how the world is doing this or that, how my body is doing this or that, how my life ... And we start to say things like, I should have been here by now, or it should have worked out. It might have, but this happened. And I should just be grateful for where I am. You hear it? We start to stop believing in our capability, and we start to turn it all around, and we start to collapse in on ourselves. The moment we start to should on ourselves, we are now moving away from what really drives us to show up in the world, to be present, to contribute, to believe in whatever it is that's important to you. Unity, kindness, consciousness, awareness, connection, contribution, happiness, joy, health, wealth, all of it. We don't get there by losing sight of our personal North Star. And we know deep down that everything in our self-awareness, in our daily self-awareness, it's not pulling us away from that. It's not when I get there, I'll be happy, therefore I'm not even noticing what's happening around me today. No, we're not losing sight of that self-awareness. It's everything that I'm experiencing now is in service to that. Somehow this is connected to that. So if I'm not traveling the path in the way that I expected it to go, that doesn't mean I'm off course, right? We do this. So, for example, a client comes to me with a cancer diagnosis. And the first thing that we've got to blueprint, what I do is blueprinting, is we've got to look at what big life events occurred. Where did we stop our vision of our North Star? Where did we give it up? Where did we compromise it? Where did we sacrifice it? Right? What big life events occurred in the last year, 18 months, 2 years? Some cancer scientifically started growing 10 years before. So we start to map things out. And we've got to clean up and reframe what we made those things mean about us, about life, about the world, about our dream, our North Star. We've got to clean up what we make those things mean, because they don't mean those things. Doesn't mean they didn't happen, but they don't necessarily mean what you're telling yourself they mean. Because what we do is we compound on infancy programming. Hear it, infancy. We start creating programming as infants. There's a whole body of work. Edgar Barnett was incredible And he was a medical doctor who back in 1975 gave up his medical practice to become a hypnotherapist. To me, that's jaw-dropping and extraordinary because there's not a lot of us out there that are clinically trained. And it's still sort of looked at in mainstream as a little too alternative. It's still based on the Freudian model. And this is not. The subconscious mind has its own intelligence. And so to do this in 1975, first of all, was extraordinary. But his body of work showed that when we experience our first experience of hurt, so baby cries and mom is late feeding baby, baby realizes, uh-oh, my need's not being met. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I experience hurt. And then if that happens again, now I've experienced fear. Now I'm afraid the hurt is going to come. So we have hurt, then we have fear, and then we have anger. Anger is our coping mechanism we develop in order to keep fear at bay. So programming starts in infancy. And compounded over time, we start to tell ourselves reasons why things don't work out for us, what things mean. It's, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. It just didn't work out for me this way. That relationship fell apart. It means I'm intrinsically something's wrong with me. It doesn't mean that. It means that relationship ran its course. What did you learn from it? Did you learn strength? Did you learn resiliency? Did you learn where your standards are? It doesn't mean what we make it mean, especially when it's about our worth and our value. And we bump into our self-esteem all the time because that goes all the way back to infancy programming. We don't have resources when we're that little to say, I can rationalize that this happened as a result of this circumstance. We don't have those capabilities. We're well into our teenage years before we develop that rational process. So we have to look and clean that up. And once we clean that up, then we start to blueprint that North Star again. What was it for you? What's the dream? Right? Is it seeing yourself healthy in 10 years and playing with your grandkids? Is it being at your child's graduation? Is it speaking in front of a group of people, telling them your story and how it was extraordinary that you survived circumstances? What did you learn? Who did you become? Everything that's happening on our journey is in service to that North Star. But we weren't taught that. And we don't protect that. And we lose sight of that. That this whole journey, this remarkable journey, is bringing us back home to ourselves, to who we really are, to what we come from, and the capabilities that are already innately within us, that we just have to learn how to work with. So we all came into this world with a North Star, and we discovered bits and pieces of it along the way. For example, do you remember when you were little, what games you used to play, right? Kids are I'm going to be a fireman, I'm going to be a policeman, I'm going to be a teacher, right? I remember being in the second, maybe third grade, and we had, in my parents' house, we had a little room that was under the stairs. That was kind of common because stairs were slanted and then you'd have the next level and there was this little space. And that was long before the Harry Potter books. And I remember my mom and I put a little desk in there and a little chair in there and hung a little blackboard in there. And I had my stuffed animals, and that was my little space that I'd come home after school and I'd play in that space. And I remember I would write and then I would teach, and I would write and I would pretend that I was teaching. We do these things. And isn't it kind of funny that now I write and I teach. I write about how our brain works. I teach about how our subconscious mind is the most powerful and extraordinary ally we already have built in. Well, that North Star is built in too. It's not just a dream or wishful thinking. It's part of our purpose here. And that road can become very winded. I thought when I was 18 that I was going to be a policewoman. That's what I wanted to be, but my dad made sure he blocked that at every turn. Because what I really wanted to do is I wanted to be a profiler. That's what I wanted to do. That was my plan. It didn't work out that way. And yet I'm so glad it didn't. But all the skills I learned along the way to bring me to where I am now and what I'm doing, I am profiling. But I'm profiling for the dream, right? Versus catching a criminal. We still come back to our North Star, but it might not look like what we thought it was going to look like. And we have to be open to investigating that. It's not always a straight path, and that doesn't mean something went wrong. That's what we make it mean. We are meaning-making machines. What if instead, along the twists and the turns, you allowed yourself to have a new belief? That this is all in service to the North Star that I have. That I'm learning skills and attributes along the way that are really important for me. And so that this little wind in the road is necessary. And I'm being guided through that to pick up and learn this emotional maturity, emotional resiliency, strength, understanding, compassion, empathy. What if we looked at it differently and gave it a different set of meaning? Right? Then do we come back to our focus and our presence, right? We can be in gratitude. And not in that fluffy, like, yeah, I'm so grateful. But really, I'm present, I'm here. There is so much that I want to accomplish and do. And it's not out there. It's every day, one moment at a time, one choice at a time, one person I help at a time, one thing that I do, one breakthrough at a time. And it's all in service to that bigger vision of that North Star. That we continue to build and we compound on the positive. What we've learned to do is compound on the negative. And we need to learn that we can let joy interrupt our sadness as often, if not more often, than we are really conditioned to let sadness interrupt our joy. Right? We continuously bump into old programming. Old programming that says, we're not good enough. We're not capable. We can't have what we want. We should just be grateful. Should. And to a degree, that programming may have protected you for a while. Right? I'm not doing that again. People aren't nice. And maybe for a while you were safe because you needed that space to heal. But then you needed to learn something from that. Resiliency, strength, right? Self-possession, autonomy. I'm okay. I can move through this. I survived this. And I'm getting back on track with the things that I want. But this wasn't off track. This was really valuable. And when we can see it that way, then our North Star doesn't dim. And our limiting beliefs don't stop us. Because otherwise what starts to happen is those coping mechanisms and the story we tell ourselves and the meaning we give everything starts to become sabotage in our life. That's what it looks like. And it doesn't feel good. Sabotage does not feel good. It feels like, see, that doesn't work out for me. There it is again. Why do I bother? And when we do that enough times and we compound that negative enough times, our North Star dwindles, right? It dwindles down from this beautiful guiding light to like a lightning bug that we see once in a while to, a battery-operated candle and then the battery's fading. Have you ever seen those? And then the candle flicker just gets lower and lower and we sort of give up on it. And then we tell a story about why we can't have it and we make that story true. When we do that, we are actually speeding up our aging process. It's important to know. Our thoughts influence our cellular activity, right? This is so important to realize that research today has proven that our nervous system takes cues from our thoughts, our emotions, and mental states, which in turn impacts our physiological conditions. Biologists are finding now that our thoughts, no matter if they are conscious or not, and most of them are not, it's our subconscious programming, all the way back to infancy, if we haven't cleaned it up, can impact our bodies and our DNA, and that these negative thoughts and beliefs, these stories that we tell, help the process of the destruction of the body. Because we're telling the story of, I lost my North Star. I don't really know why I'm here. What's the point? Well, your cells are listening to that. And we have got to interrupt that pattern, and we have got to stop looking at the outside world and responding to it as though that's what showed up first. It didn't. What showed up first is your belief that started at infancy and compounded over time, and you project that out into the world, and as a result, your brain will show you the evidence to make you right every time. Now, we can use that to project from a completely different set of beliefs and standards when you develop them, when we blueprint them through and you develop them. And then your brain will show you the evidence of that too. And then you can always be in service to your North Star, seeing that the winding road along the way can be pretty interesting. And in hindsight, you'd look back and say, I wouldn't trade it in for the world. It made me who I am. And there is so much more coming. And I appreciate everything that's happening right now. And I see that it's in service to the North Star. That's real gratitude. And with that, we compound, we compound, we compound. And then you start living pretty extraordinary life in extraordinary ways. And the world doesn't influence it the way it used to influence it. In fact, you become the influence. We're starting to see this. We're starting to see this change. And it is amazing. This is available to us on a daily basis. And I want you to consider what it would be like to start to change how you feel. Back to that wonder that you had when you had a really bright North Star. Can you remember what your North Star is? Can you remember what the dream is? With that, we can do this entire process in reverse. Right now, we want to prove clinically that when we focus on the value of the challenges we face, knowing that it's in service to who we're becoming and how we contribute in the world, or actualizing our North Star, right? That's what it is. This concept also works in reverse, that we affect our own healing. We create our own anti-aging, our own longevity, our own capability, our own joy, our own accomplishments, and a state of inner peace that comes along with that. Peace and happiness and contentment that comes along with that. We're still showing up every day, excited about what's coming next. But there isn't this, if once I get there, then I'm worthy. That's not it. It's I'm here, I'm now, I'm grateful, I'm present, I'm aware, I'm contributing, and there's so much more coming, and I'm paying attention to everything, even the hard stuff. That's a completely different way of living, and we were not taught to live that way. We were not taught to recognize our emotions as guiding lights along the way. How am I feeling about this? We were not taught to carve out any time to contemplate, any time to sit and process our feelings. We were not taught to investigate the stories that we tell and what we make things mean. Are they true? Or was it a circumstance that happened that you told a story about based on something that happened that was painful, that felt very personal to you because you hadn't developed the ability to not take it personally yet? That part of your brain wasn't functioning yet. This ability to rationalize. You didn't have that. So it doesn't make sense that we're still walking around with a belief that we created the moment we became verbal. Then we started to compound over time, and that's still running our life. That frozen in time, small little person within us that got hurt is still running and in charge of your life. That doesn't get us to the North Star. So I want you to think about that. Think about what your North Star is. What's the dream? And what are you telling yourself about why you can't have it? And when did that start? And what can you start to tell yourself instead? How can you start to believe that everything you've been through is not what you made it mean? And that it can mean something else extraordinary. The superpowers you've developed along the way were necessary, but you stopped looking for your North Star. But it didn't give up on you. You're still here. So it's still here. And it can be as bright as ever. But we have to clean up what you've made it mean for a really long time that feels like your identity. But it's not your identity. It's what you made it mean. And you can make it mean something else. If I can ever help you with that process, I am most happy to do so. Feel free to reach out to me on the website, megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. Have a wonderful rest of your month, and I'll see you next month in the fall. Bye for now.